Hey guys, StarCraft here, and well, if you guys wanted me to talk about JSA the Golden Age, why not? But before I do, I got something I gotta say. To those of you who decide to come onto my videos and watch it, and then decide to just do some trolling, downvoting, whoever you guys are, Todd, Adam, Crypto, if it's any of you guys, or if it's anyone else who's even with it, just deciding who, I don't care. And look, I'm just mentioning those names because I don't know if it's you guys or not. If it is, whatever. And if it's not, if it's someone else who's just deciding to, let's downvote him and all that, grow up already. It's not gonna bother me one bit. I only made that one thing because it caught me off guard. But from here on out, I'm waiting on this. So you want to just downvote me into oblivion? Just to encourage more people to want to upvote me and subscribe to me, okay? So, that out of the way, let's talk about Golden Age. Now, the thing about this Elseworld is, it's not one of those Elseworlds where it diverges so drastically from, its premise or whatever. No, this is one of those Elseworlds where it's an Elseworld because there's no other way at the end of it that could actually fit in the continuity because of characters dying and everything. So, but the writer James Robinson was actually able to incorporate some stuff of this into his Starman run, among other things. Just certain elements, so it's not canon specifically, but it's quasi-canon, you could say. So, what is Golden Age? Well, it's a tale at the end of the Golden Age. Everything wrapping up, leading soon transitioning into the Silver Age. I'll talk a bit more about a certain other book that's kind of a quasi a follow-up to it, but it opens up with the end of the war. World War II was over, Hitler is dead, the bomb has gone off, and everyone's starting to come home. And then we are introduced to Mr. America, the Americommando, Tex Thompson, who's come back and everyone's cheering for him. And he basically decides to eventually run for political office. But all the while, we're also having the build-up on the Red Scare and all that. All of the Justice Society have since retired. People are curious on what to do. Alan Scott, who, in this story, since there's no Superman, he's basically the closest thing to a Superman they've got, the most powerful character. And he has some other stuff going on with politics and everything that hold on a second, sorry, a lot of this is still going off the cuff, as you already know. So basically he's been invited to one of the committees. He's about the American committee and everything, so he's trying to figure out what to do. And then we're also introduced to Robot Man. This is the old Golden Age Robot Man, not the Doom Patrol Robot Man. But basically Thompson, he is continuing to run for political office. We also bring in the Atom, who is, well, he's a little guy. But this is also the point where he's given his incredible strength. We have Our Man running around. You have again, we're just introduced to so many of these characters, just trying to get to understand them. And then we also have Starman is in here, and he's suffering. Ted Knight, he's not Ted. Theo Knight, he is suffering a major mental breakdown. Unfortunately, it's quite sad. Then Kirk, I forget what his last name is, but basically the original Manhunter, he's on the run from a bunch of people who want him dead. And we're the first issue ends with Thompson appearing before a man named Daniel Dunbar, who's a well-meaning college person. He was Dan the Dynamite, who was working under his mentor TNT. And Thompson basically says, America needs you. And that's where that issue in particular ends. And we then see that Thompson has created his own group of heroes with Adam, Robot Man, and Dunbar. And basically he's going to experiment and transform Dunbar into the newest hero. And basically as this goes on, we're just, okay, I'm not going to do a bit by bit synopsis on this because there's so much detail in this thing. More so, Superman Batman Generations, I was able to go through beat by beat because I had it all down pat and it was so easy to describe, but this is such a detailed read that it's not like Transformers G.I. Joe where it's just so off the wall. No. This one, there's just so many plot points set up that move through everything that I can't just go over every little detail at all, but you basically have all these different people like the Thunderbolt, and you have Sportsmaster and all that. He's dealing with stuff, and again, just things just continue. Now, eventually, I will say this though: Thompson does test on Dunbar, and Dunbar he becomes the closest to being like Superman. He's basically invulnerable. He has the strength of 1,000 man. His fists are incredibly powerful. But it is hinted off that he does have a bit of a weakness. His stamina is limitless, but he can still get tired. So basically saying it's perfectly fine. But Dunbar by this point starts to act a little differently. Meanwhile, we also have Captain Triumph, who's being hunted by the ghost of his brother, who wants him to tap their little tattoo so he can transform, and he's trying to avoid it. We still have that Hour Man. He's basically become a bit of a drug addict. He keeps on popping his pills, and eventually they give him his strength, and he's starting to hallucinate. We then also have Tigress, who's being reformed. You have Miss America, who starts a relationship with Mr. America, of course, and with Thompson. We have Kirk is found, and he's hiding away. But at the very end of this particular issue, little interesting thing, we see Dunbar with Thompson as he's snorting coke, who says basically they knew he wasn't going to win the presidency. Thompson was not going to. It was too new. But by the time of the next election, not only will he win, but Dunbar says, "We will rule the world." Now, I like this little fact. Dunbar's starting to snort coke. And yeah, if anyone knows anything particular about a particular person in this era of history who did that in their life, it's actually a nice little hint off. But at the same time, makes it very clear something's up with Dunbar. What it is, don't know. But as time's going on, some people are starting to feel like they're being manipulated. Others are continuing to be on the run from the government, a lot of it by Dunbar's manipulations, and others are just trying to figure out what's going on. There's still a bunch of unanswered questions. And then soon, Manhunter, Kirk, is starting to remember stuff. At the same time, Miss America decides to unlock his journal and decides to read it. And she realized she had nowhere else to go, so she goes to Triumph and Tigress, and I'm pretty sure that was Triumph. But yeah, and basically Tigress picklocks it open, and we find out that Thompson, he's dead, and in his place is the Ultra Humanite. And poor Miss America, she's just like, Christ, I've been sleeping with the Ultra Humanite. Now, I don't know much about Miss America, but she's supposed to be this tough, strong woman. But in the sake of this story, it feels like they chose to make her weak. That's probably one of the downsides I would give it, is just how they handled the character. But they've also realized that they're looking through all this. We don't find out who it is yet, but someone else's brain was put inside Dunbar. Yeah, they are just trying to, and they realize we gotta stop this. If we don't stop it, it's gonna be bad. And we don't reveal it at the end of this issue. Instead, the third issue ends with as Alan Scott's been invited to the Committee of Un-American Reactions, basically the McCarthyism. Then they basically are starting to plot and plan as they're trying to figure out what they're going to do, who's going to do what role. As there was supposed to be a speech being done in Washington, as they're inviting all the heroes there. And we even have a little hint off to the Atom. I mean, Captain Atom. Yeah, and wait a minute, Captain? No, not Captain Atom. Captain Comet. My bad, Captain Comet. And look, I'm just going to the main plot point. Like I said, there's so many sub-stories in here, and I know there's going to be a shorter video because of this, but this is one of those books where you gotta read. So I'm giving you spoilers, but there's so much, it's so well written, you guys have to read it. I mean, because that's the thing though, all of these plot points that are in here, it's a meaty read, but they're all leading up to this one point. They're just taking their own time getting there, is what I'm saying. So eventually Joan, that's Miss America, decides to go up there and give the speech. Now it was supposed to be our man who was supposed to do it. But then once it's starting to be clear that she's starting to reveal too much, and right before she can, our man tries to stop Robot Man from silencing her, but at the last second, Robot Man kills her. Yeah, first death so far. And soon it is made very clear that Dunbar's body is Adolf Hitler. Yeah, he's gotten his Ubermesh body. And basically he decides, enough of the smiles and lies, the pretense to Jews and blacks that because they were Americans, I saw them as anything but inferior. And the speeches, they didn't work the first time. Why? Why did I ever think they would work this time? No more. I am Overman, Dynaman. I have the power I've always dreamed of. Time to begin using it to get what I want. And all I want is everything. I mean, all the while, Alan Scott is dealing with the McCarthy, Senator McCarthy, until he realized the situation's going on, and he basically, McCarthy's like, yeah, go. And everyone starts to get in on the action. It's a big fight. This is a grand action fight. As you're dealing with Dynaman and Robot Man. Robot Man is trying to go after Tigress, and Triumph, his brother's trying to constantly tell him, touch the birthmark, do it. And then, another one is Peter and his Thunderbolt. He is so caught up in Johnny Thunder. Sorry, not Peter. Johnny Thunder and his Thunderbolt. Johnny just feels like this is the opportunity I've been given. And Thunderbolt, kill him. Take care of him. We gotta stop him. They're the bad guys. And what does the Thunderbolt do? He can't bring himself to do it. So he sacrifices himself, blows up to try and prevent himself from doing what he was asked to do. Meanwhile, we have Adam and Our Man duking it out as Our Man is trying to talk sense into Adam. Then Dynaman shows up and says, "Oh, Al, my friend, look at you. Denial in the face of reason, blind obedience. I loved it in a soldier. What a great little Nazi you would have made." That does it right there. Adam is completely in on it. They go in for the fight. And again, everyone is constantly fighting. As Manhunter finally, Kurt goes after Thompson, or Ultra Humanite. And again, fights are going on. We have Dr. Midnight is blinded. Some other characters like the Red Bee is killed. So many people get killed. Dollman gets severely hurt. And again, so many others are just slaughtered. It's a slaughter. I mean, you have Hawkman gets his wings ripped off, and then Captain Comet goes in there and he wants to go and help. We have Johnny Quick joining in, which that was another subplot, was the marital problems between him and his wife. But it was Liberty Bell. But that does get resolved by all this. Alan Scott is getting his ring ready. Robot Man continues on fighting, and it finally ends with Triumph taking down Robot Man, but he gets killed in the crossfire, in the blast of everything. And then Green Lantern finally shows up. It's Superman, the Superman versus the Superman equivalent. But his ring, as you see earlier, was damaged, and he's just getting too old for this. Also, we have more Manhunter versus Thompson, but he eventually wins out and kills the Ultra Humanite, finally finishing his mission. Then we have Johnny Quick showing up with Starman, who's ready to help. Still, Dynaman takes care of him, and he's basically like, if I had thought it would be this easy, I might have done it sooner. Then Comet comes in, fights him off, just dailing into him, even showing how in the face of death he wasn't afraid. And even a camera takes the perfect shot there. But then the real person to give the finishing blow, Liberty Bell, charges up with Starman's staff and stabs it right through him. Obviously, he was getting tuckered out. He was getting tired. And with that, because without his strengths, a bus drops on him and kills him. It's over. And eventually then goes into everyone starting to live happily ever after. Johnny Quick starting to feel better. Ted Knight's feeling a lot better. Alan Scott's also doing well. Al Pratt has learned from his mistakes. Johnny Thunder hasn't learned anything, unfortunately. Poor Tigress. She goes back to being a thief again because the man who trusted her most is gone. And basically it ends with a new age of heroes have begun, with Comet being one of the first, but more and more of them will eventually start up. Which this eventually wrapped up in what, like I said, leading to James Robinson's Starman and Justice Society of JSA. But the other thing is, he didn't intend on doing a Silver Age. It never came about, but the closest we ever got to that, and even Robbins himself would admit it, was Darwin Cook's New Frontier, which basically, DC New Frontier, which basically was the Silver Age coming into its own more. It doesn't directly tie into this, but it's a nice spiritual successor. So, what is it I like about this particular book? What I like best about it is that it's a very mature story. Some of James Robinson's best writing. It is incredible. And the artwork by Paul Smith, you were seeing it as I was showing it off, and obviously if you don't know anything by this point, I've been actually showing the panels on the screen because my lighting's not the greatest. I need to do some of this for you guys to see it. But yeah, the artwork on this is incredible. The twists and turns, like I said, I know I spoiled it all, but if you went in and read this going from beginning to end, you would be so like trying to figure out. It's a good mystery. It's one of those that gives you your clues that you need to get, and to follow through. Like I said, the whole Dunbar snorting coke, Hitler did that, and that's actually a nice, clear, telltale sign if you knew that. But not everyone does know that. And again, it feels like it's closing the door on the Golden Age completely, as many of the characters die or they're just getting old and retiring, and the New Age is coming in to take over. And yeah, for what it is, like I said, this felt like a great little story. Again, given how it plays out by the end of it, there's no way it could fully be canon, but it's one of those that is partially canon, at least pre-New 52. And for it to be a send-off for the Justice Society, I can't think of a better one. It ends with them killing off Hitler once and for all, dealing with stuff like the Ultra Humanite once and for all, and basically bringing an end to everything once and for all. At least for that time being. It wraps up a lot. I wouldn't say it wraps up loose ends, because that's not that kind of story, but it does give a nice little farewell. And what else can you ask for? Again, it's really, really well done. It's all I can say. It is one of the best Elseworlds. Probably because I don't know if it was meant to be an Elseworld originally, or if it was meant to be canon and they realized, no way, there's no way it's going to fit, and they made it in Elseworlds. I don't know. But if you can ever get a copy of this, despite me spoiling it all for you, it's still a case of, it's still, even if you know the spoilers, you still will get enjoyment out of reading this. So get a copy, either the trade or the individual issues, and have a blast. Next time, I'll probably either do Young Justice or whatever wins my poll. I am going to get the Jeff Loeb's Creative Spotlight. I'm just trying to get my hands on one more book before I do. So until then, this is StarCraft, and catch you later.